In the winter of 1959, deep in the frozen wilderness of Siberia, a passenger express train vanished from the schedule for over a week. When it was finally found, the entire convoy stood silent in the snow. The engines cold, the windows frosted, and every watch stopped at the exact same minute. This is the forgotten story of the Siberian Express that froze in motion. January 1959. The Soviet Union was locked in one of its coldest winters on record. Train number 1707, known as the Siberian Express, departed from Novosibirsk on January 25th, bound for Irkutsk. The 18-car convoy carried 63 passengers, 7 railway workers, and an enormous load of industrial machinery for the Baikal-Amur construction line. The route stretched through frozen taiga, narrow valleys, and long tunnels cut through permafrost. Infrastructure built hastily in the years after the war. Temperatures dropped to -45 degrees Celsius. The train's old diesel engine, modeled GE-2-125, was barely suited for the journey. But in the Soviet Union of 1959, trains did not stop for weather. They stopped only when ordered. That order never came. At 02:17 a.m., January 27th, the central dispatcher in Krasnoyarsk received a brief transmission from the train's radio operator. Quote, "Visibility poor, snow building, entering the mountain pass, signal weak." End quote. Those were the final words ever received from the crew. The next checkpoint, a remote station named Tinda 3, never recorded the train's arrival. It was expected by 0400 hours, but dawn came and went. By noon, railway controllers grew uneasy, yet no alarm was raised publicly. Lost radio contact was common during storms. By the second day, with no sign of train 1707, the Ministry of Railways initiated a quiet search operation. Local NKVD successor units, the KGB Transport Division, were informed. Internally, the disappearance was classified as temporary route loss. Helicopters from Irkutsk and Bratsk were deployed, but visibility was near zero. Snow buried the tracks. It took 8 days before the first visual clue emerged, a faint black smoke trace frozen mid-air like a ghost above the forest ridge. On February 2, 1959, search teams located the Siberian Express, motionless, half-buried in ice, 18 kilometers east of the Chulim River crossing. It looked as if it had been moving full speed and then simply stopped. No derailment, no wreckage. The engine had stalled, the front wheels locked in the snow. The driver's body was still seated, his hand on the throttle. His eyes were open, frozen in place. Every clock inside the train, from the conductor's watch to the dining car's wall clock, read 03:11 a.m. When investigators entered the train, they found every compartment intact. Passengers were still in their seats, some with coats pulled around them, others with cups of tea still on the tables. The liquid inside had solidified into amber ice. There was no sign of panic, no evidence of an explosion or gas leak. The heating system had failed completely, and temperatures inside the cars had dropped below -40 degrees Celsius. It appeared the entire train froze before anyone could react. The locomotive's instruments recorded a sudden drop in pressure seconds before shutdown. The diesel tanks were full, the brake lines intact, yet the entire electrical system had failed simultaneously. One engineer whispered in disbelief, "It's as if time itself stopped at 03:11 a.m." The official investigation lasted 2 months. Soviet authorities released no public statement, but railway workers and local geologists later gave interviews after the fall of the USSR, revealing strange inconsistencies. The magnetic interference theory. A scientific expedition near the Yenisei River recorded unusual magnetic spikes at the same time the train vanished from radar. Some believed a geomagnetic anomaly had short-circuited the train's systems, freezing its electrical network instantly. The gas leak hypothesis. Investigators also found traces of carbon monoxide near the engine's ventilation ducts. A partial engine failure might have released toxic fumes, causing unconsciousness. The crew could have frozen before realizing what was happening. The government cover-up. According to one declassified KGB memo dated March 1959, the Ministry of Railways was instructed to cease external communications and record the event under Category 5 Transport Incident. Translation: never mention it again. The report concluded, primary cause undetermined, severe meteorological and technical failure. Unofficially, railway staff referred to it as the train that froze in motion. For decades, the story remained buried in Soviet archives. The wreck of Train 1707 was salvaged piece by piece. The locomotives melted down, the wagons reused, but the official route records for January 27, 1959 were erased from National Archives until 1992. Only after the fall of the Soviet Union did journalist Viktor Remezov uncover microfilm images showing the original dispatch logs. They confirmed the train signal was strong until 03:11 a.m. Power systems failed within seconds. The emergency brakes were never engaged. Remezov's 1995 documentary, The Frozen Line, revealed a chilling detail. The locomotive's cabin clock had been removed and kept in a regional museum in Omsk. The mechanism still showed 03:11 frozen by condensation and frost. To this day, railway workers along the Trans-Siberian route mention Train 1707 in hushed tones. It became a symbol of endurance and mystery of the Soviet era's brutal winters. In 2014, a restoration crew found remnants of the train's wheel assembly deep in permafrost near the old tunnel line. The metal had warped as if from sudden freezing, not by corrosion, but instant temperature collapse. There are no paranormal claims, no legends of ghosts, only the stubborn, cold reality of Siberia, where a mechanical failure could turn into a silent tomb within minutes. One investigator summed it up best. They didn't crash, they didn't burn, they just stopped. And in the middle of that endless white wilderness, the Siberian Express remains a frozen time capsule of 1959, a moment locked forever at 03:11 a.m.